Security! This woman is teaching her children to steal, the black-haired woman shouted, pointing an accusing finger at Jasmine and her daughters. Little Maya froze, her eyes wide with fear. "Ma'am, it's a misunderstanding. She was just looking," Jasmine said, her heart racing. "I saw. Call the police. I want them searched," the woman demanded. A quiet man in a hoodie, who had been browsing a nearby aisle, slowly turned, his eyes locking onto the scene with a dangerously calm expression. "But before we see what he does, tell me where you're watching from and what time it is. Now, subscribe to the channel and let's get into the full story." "Mommy, are we really going to Wonder Toys? The biggest toy store ever?" Maya bounced in her car seat, her eyes wide with excitement. Jasmine Williams smiled at her daughter in the rearview mirror. "Yes, sweetie, just like I promised. You girls can each pick out one special gift for your birthday tomorrow." "I want a microscope," Zoe declared, pushing her glasses up her small nose. "I'm getting a stuffed unicorn," Layla added confidently. Jasmine gripped the steering wheel as she navigated through Chicago traffic. The digital clock on her dashboard showed 3:15 in the afternoon. After finishing her night shift at the hospital, she had slept only 5 hours before picking up her triplet daughters from school. Despite her exhaustion, seeing their excitement made it worthwhile. "Remember our rule, girls," Jasmine said gently. "Your gift needs to cost less than $30. "But why?" Maya asked. "Jessica from my class got a $100 doll for her birthday." Jasmine sighed. "We've talked about this, sweetie. We need to be careful with our money. I saved for 3 months so you each could have something special." The car fell silent for a moment. At 38 years old, Jasmine had spent 8 years balancing her nursing career with raising triplets alone. There was never enough money, but she worked hard to make sure her daughters never felt poor. "That's okay, Mommy," Zoe said seriously. "I saw a science kit online for $29.99. Jasmine smiled at her practical daughter. "That sounds perfect." The massive Wonder Toys building came into view, its colorful sign towering over the parking lot. The girls squealed with delight. "We're here! We're here!" they chanted together. Inside the store, the triplets stood in awe. Bright lights illuminated aisles filled with toys reaching toward the ceiling. Music played softly while children and parents moved through the massive space. "Hold hands, please," Jasmine instructed. "This store is huge and I need you to stay close." Maya tugged her mother forward. "Can we look at the dolls first?" "Then the science section," Zoe added. "Then stuffed animals," Layla finished. Jasmine nodded. "We have 2 hours before we need to go home for dinner." Near the entrance, a man in jeans and a gray hoodie entered the store. Michael Thompson nodded to a security guard who didn't recognize him. At 39 years old, Michael had built Wonder Toys from a single store to a chain worth billions. Yet he still visited his stores regularly, dressed casually so employees wouldn't recognize him as the CEO. He wanted to see the real customer experience. "Good afternoon, sir," the guard said. "Welcome to Wonder Toys." Michael smiled. "Thanks, just doing some shopping." In the doll section, Maya gasped at the display of Beautiful Dreams dolls. Each doll wore a different colorful dress and had hair that could be styled. "Look at this one, Mommy." Maya carefully lifted a doll with dark skin and curly black hair like her own. The doll wore a purple dress with tiny stars. "She looks like me." Jasmine checked the price tag and tried not to wince. "Honey, this one costs $59. That's almost twice our budget." Maya's smile faded, but she nodded bravely. "I understand." She examined the doll closely, touching its sparkly dress and soft hair before carefully placing it back on the shelf exactly as she had found it. "There are other dolls over here that might be in our price range," Jasmine suggested, pointing to a different display. Meanwhile, Zoe had wandered to the science section, her face serious as she compared different kits. Layla hugged various stuffed animals, trying to decide which one felt the most special. Michael moved through the store, observing families shopping. He made mental notes about displays that caught children's attention and areas where parents seemed confused. This hands-on approach had helped him understand what customers truly wanted. In another aisle, Patricia Whitmore frowned as she examined a toy robot. At 53 years old, with perfectly styled blonde hair and an expensive designer outfit, Patricia was shopping for her grandson's birthday. She put down the robot with a disappointed sigh. "Nothing good enough for precious Elliot," she muttered to herself. "These toys are all so ordinary." Patricia rounded the corner and noticed Maya carefully returning the beautiful Dreams doll to the shelf. Her eyes narrowed as she watched Jasmine and her daughters move to a different section. "Did you see that?" Patricia whispered loudly to another shopper who wasn't paying attention. "That little girl just put something in her mother's purse." "I saw it." The other shopper glanced up, confused, then continued browsing. Patricia's lips thinned with determination. She marched toward a security guard stationed near the entrance. "Excuse me," Patricia said sharply. "I need to report a theft in progress." The guard straightened. "What did you see, ma'am?" "A woman with 3 little black girls," Patricia said, pointing. "The one in the pink shirt just put merchandise in her mother's purse." I saw it clearly. The security guard looked uncertain. "Are you sure, ma'am?" "I need to be certain before approaching anyone." "Of course I'm sure." Patricia's voice rose. "Are you calling me a liar?" "Do your job before they leave the store." Her loud voice carried through the nearby aisles. Customers turned to look. Jasmine, now helping Layla choose between 2 stuffed animals, heard the commotion but didn't realize it involved her family. "I like this elephant, but the unicorn is prettier," Layla said, hugging both toys. "Which one feels more special to you?" Jasmine asked. Before Layla could answer, Patricia marched toward them, pointing dramatically, her voice ringing through the store. "Security! This woman and her children are shoplifting. I just saw that little girl put something in her mother's purse." The store fell silent. All eyes turned toward Jasmine and her daughters. "Excuse me?" Jasmine said, completely stunned. Maya's eyes filled with tears. "I didn't take anything, Mommy." Zoe froze, clutching a science kit to her chest. Layla dropped both stuffed animals and grabbed Jasmine's hand. "My daughter didn't take anything," Jasmine said firmly, though her heart raced. "She was just looking at a doll and put it back on the shelf." Patricia stepped closer, her expensive perfume overwhelming. "I know what I saw. Check her purse." More people gathered around them, some pulled out phones to record the confrontation. A security guard approached nervously. "Ma'am, would you mind if we—" "Yes, I do mind," Jasmine interrupted, pulling her daughters close. "My children haven't done anything wrong. We're just shopping for their birthday tomorrow." Maya sobbed against her mother's side. Zoe stared at the floor, her small body rigid with fear. Layla glared at Patricia. "People like you always think you can just walk in and take what you want," Patricia said loudly. Across the store, Michael Thompson noticed the gathering crowd and moved closer to see what was happening. Something about the woman at the center of the commotion caught his attention. There was something strangely familiar about her face, her voice. As he got closer, recognition hit him like a physical blow. Jasmine Williams, his high school girlfriend from 20 years ago. They had dated their senior year before going to different colleges. Michael pushed through the crowd for a better look. Then his gaze fell on the 3 little girls clinging to Jasmine. 3 identical faces with light brown skin, curly black hair, and— Michael's breath caught, hazel eyes exactly like his own. The same eyes that looked back at him in the mirror every morning. The girls appeared to be around 8 years old. Michael quickly calculated in his head and felt the world tilt beneath his feet. These weren't just Jasmine's daughters. They were his daughters too. "That woman is stealing. Check her bag." Patricia's voice grew even louder as more customers gathered around. Michael Thompson remained frozen at the edge of the crowd, still processing the shocking realization. Those 3 little girls with Jasmine Williams, His high school girlfriend from 20 years ago had his eyes, his nose, his smile. Could they really be his daughters? Patricia pointed dramatically at Jasmine's purse. I saw that child put something in there. Don't just stand there. Search her bag. The security guard, a young man named Kevin, approached Jasmine cautiously. Ma'am, I'm sorry about this situation. Would you mind showing the contents of your purse? Jasmine took a deep breath, fighting back tears of anger and humiliation. With shaking hands, she opened her purse. Look for yourself. We haven't taken anything. My daughter was just looking at a doll. Maya clung to her mother, sobbing. I put it back, Mommy. I put it back on the shelf just like you showed me. I know you did, sweetie, Jasmine said softly, stroking her daughter's hair while maintaining eye contact with the guard. Kevin looked through the purse carefully and found nothing but the usual items: a wallet, phone, tissues, a small first aid kit, and some snacks. There's nothing here, ma'am, he said to Patricia. Patricia crossed her arms over her expensive cashmere sweater. Check the children's pockets. They're obviously hiding something. A woman in the crowd spoke up. I was watching too. The little girl just looked at the doll and put it back. Me too, added a teenage boy. She didn't take anything. Patricia's face flushed with anger. Are you calling me a liar? I know what I saw. Jasmine pulled her daughters closer. Please stop this. You're frightening my children on the day before their birthday. Zoe and Layla huddled against their mother, their small bodies trembling. Maya continued crying into Jasmine's side. Mommy, why is that lady saying mean things? Layla whispered. Sometimes people make mistakes, Jasmine answered gently. More phones appeared as customers recorded the confrontation. Jasmine felt sick knowing that her daughter's distress was becoming entertainment for strangers. Emily Chen, the store manager, hurried over. She was a 35-year-old woman with short black hair and a kind face. She wore the blue Wonder Toys manager uniform with a name tag that read, Emily, Store Manager. What seems to be the problem here? Emily asked, looking between Jasmine and Patricia. This woman is falsely accusing my family of stealing, Jasmine explained, struggling to keep her voice steady. The security guard has already checked my purse and found nothing. Emily turned to Patricia. Ma'am, are you certain about what you saw? Absolutely, Patricia insisted. I'm not blind. That child took something and put it in her mother's purse. If your security staff is too incompetent to find it, that's not my problem. Michael finally broke free from his shock and moved closer to the scene. He needed a better look at Jasmine and the girls. It had been 20 years since he'd seen Jasmine, but he would recognize her anywhere. Her face was a bit older now, with tiny lines around her eyes, but she was still beautiful. And those girls, they were unmistakably a perfect blend of his features and Jasmine's. Emily spoke calmly to everyone gathered. Let's all take a breath. We have security cameras throughout the store. The simplest solution is to review the footage and resolve this misunderstanding. That's an excellent idea, Jasmine agreed immediately. Patricia scoffed. Fine, the video will prove I'm right. Emily gestured toward a door marked Staff Only at the back of the store. Please come this way and we'll review the footage together. I'm not going anywhere with her, Patricia declared. Bring the video out here where everyone can see it. That's not our policy, ma'am, Emily explained patiently. We need to review security footage in the office for privacy reasons. Patricia pulled out her phone. If you won't take this seriously, I'm calling the police right now. At the word police, Maya cried harder and Zoe began to shake visibly. Layla wrapped her arms protectively around her sisters. Please don't, Jasmine said, her composure finally breaking. My daughters are innocent. They haven't done anything wrong. Michael watched the terror on the little girls' faces and felt something powerful stir inside him, a protective instinct he'd never experienced before. These children, his children, were frightened, and he couldn't stand by watching any longer. He pushed through the crowd, taking a deep breath. It was time to step in. "There's been a misunderstanding here," he announced clearly, removing his cap. Everyone turned toward the new voice. The store employees straightened immediately, their eyes widening with recognition. "I'm Michael Thompson, the CEO and owner of Wonder Toys." Patricia's face turned pale. The phone in her hand lowered slightly as she processed who was speaking. "Mr. Thompson," Emily said, clearly surprised to see her boss. "We were just about to review the security footage to resolve this situation." "That's an excellent plan, Emily," Michael said, smiling at his manager. "Let's do that right away." He turned to address both Jasmine and Patricia. "Ladies, if you'll follow Emily to the security office, we can review the footage together and clear this up." For the first time, his eyes met Jasmine's directly. He saw recognition flash across her face, followed by confusion and something else he couldn't quite read. She stared at him, momentarily forgetting the situation around them. "Michael," she whispered, so quietly that only he could hear. He nodded slightly, then turned to Emily. "Please lead the way." In the security office, Emily directed them to a small monitor. A security technician quickly found the correct footage from the doll section and played it on the screen. The video clearly showed Maya carefully examining the beautiful Dreams doll, showing it to her mother, then gently placing it back on the shelf exactly where she found it. At no point did the doll go near Jasmine's purse. "As you can see," Emily said, the child simply looked at the doll and returned it to the shelf. Jasmine squeezed Maya's shoulder, just as we said. But the video continued playing, and everyone watched as Patricia appeared on the screen. She approached a display of small collectible figures, looked around quickly, and slipped one into her jacket pocket. The room fell silent. Michael turned to Patricia, whose face had turned from pale to bright red. "What I did see was you putting a small toy in your own pocket without paying for it." Patricia stammered, I was just moving it to get a better look at another item. I was going to pay for it." "The footage shows you never took it out again," Emily noted quietly. "And you're not holding it now." Michael's voice was calm but firm. "Patricia, I'll need you to empty your pockets, please." With trembling hands, Patricia reached into her jacket pocket and removed a small collectible figure still in its packaging. "I think we've seen enough," Michael said. He nodded to Kevin, the security guard. "Please escort Miss Whitmore," Patricia supplied weakly. "Ms. Whitmore out of the store. She's banned from all Wonder Toys locations effective immediately." As Patricia was led away, Michael turned to Jasmine and the triplets. "I'd like to offer my sincere apologies for this experience. This is not how we treat customers at Wonder Toys." Jasmine stared at him, still processing the double shock of the false accusation and seeing Michael Thompson, her ex-boyfriend and apparently the father of her children after 20 years. "Thank you," she managed to say. Michael looked at the three girls who were watching him curiously. His heart raced as he studied their faces that mirrored his own in so many small ways. "Jasmine?" he said quietly, his voice catching slightly. "It's been a long time." She nodded, still holding her daughters close. "Yes, it has. Would you and your daughters join me in my office? I think we need to talk." Jasmine hesitated, looking down at her girls. Maya had stopped crying but still looked scared. Zoe was watching Michael with calculating eyes as if trying to solve a puzzle. Layla remained protective, her arm around Maya's shoulders. "Girls," Jasmine said gently, "Mr. Thompson is the owner of this store. He wants to talk with us for a few minutes." "Are we in trouble?" Zoe asked quietly. Michael knelt down to the girls' level. "Not at all. You didn't do anything wrong. I just want to make sure you're okay after what happened." After a moment, Jasmine nodded. "All right, we can talk." As they followed Michael through the store toward the elevator that would take them to his private office, he felt a mixture of emotions he'd never experienced before. In just minutes, his entire world had shifted. He had children, 3 beautiful daughters he'd never known existed. When they reached the elevator, Michael pressed the button for the top floor. As the doors closed, he couldn't help stealing another glance at Jasmine and the girls. So many questions filled his mind. Why hadn't she told him about the pregnancy? How much had he missed in these 8 years? The elevator began to rise, carrying them toward a conversation that would change all of their lives forever. The elevator doors opened to reveal a spacious hallway with large windows overlooking Chicago. Michael led Jasmine and the triplets toward a set of double doors at the end of the corridor. The girls stayed close to their mother, still nervous from the confrontation downstairs. "This is my office," Michael said, opening the doors to reveal a large room with floor-to-ceiling windows. A massive desk sat at one end, but the space also included a comfortable seating area and a cabinet filled with toys. "You have toys in your office?" Maya asked, her eyes wide. Michael smiled. "I own a toy company. I need to test our products." "Girls," Jasmine said softly, "Mr. Thompson has some toys you can play with while we talk. Would you like that?" The triplets nodded cautiously. Michael walked to the cabinet and opened it, revealing shelves of games, stuffed animals, and art supplies. "You can play with anything you'd like," he told them. "Some of these toys aren't even in stores yet." This captured their attention immediately. While the girls explored the cabinet, Michael guided Jasmine to the seating area where they could talk while still watching the children. "Jasmine," Michael began, his voice low so the girls couldn't hear, "I can't believe it's really you. After all these years." Jasmine folded her hands in her lap. "I never expected to see you again, especially not like this." Michael looked at the triplets, who were now sitting on the floor examining a set of magnetic building blocks. "They're beautiful. How old are they?" "They'll be 8 tomorrow," Jasmine replied, watching his face carefully. Michael did the math in his head. 8 years ago, that would be right after we... He trailed off, his eyes widening as the full reality hit him. "Jasmine, are they—" "Yes," she interrupted. "They're yours, Michael." The room fell silent except for the quiet voices of the girls playing. Michael stared at the triplets, his daughters, with new awareness. "Why didn't you tell me?" he finally asked, his voice a mixture of hurt and wonder. Jasmine sighed. "I tried. When I found out I was pregnant, you had already left for Stanford. I called your old number, but it was disconnected. I sent letters to your parents' house, but they had moved to Florida. I even tried to find you through mutual friends, but nobody knew how to reach you." Michael ran a hand through his hair. "I got a new phone when I moved to California. And my parents sold the house that summer to downsize." He shook his head. "But later, when I started Wonder Toys, I was in business magazines, television interviews. I wasn't hiding. By then, the girls were 3 years old," Jasmine explained. "I had built a life for us. I wasn't looking for your money, if that's what you're thinking." "That's not what I meant," Michael said quickly. I've missed 8 years of their lives. I didn't even know they existed until today." Across the room, Zoe looked up from the toys and studied the adults with curious eyes. "Mom," she called, "are you and Mr. Thompson friends?" Jasmine and Michael exchanged a look. "Yes, sweetie," Jasmine answered. "We knew each other a long time ago." "Before we were born?" Maya asked, joining the conversation. "Yes," Michael answered. "Your mom and I went to high school together." The girls found this interesting and came closer. Layla, still the most cautious, stayed slightly behind her sisters. "What were you like in high school?" Zoe asked Jasmine. "Your mom was the smartest person in our class," Michael answered instead, smiling at Jasmine. "She wanted to be a doctor even back then." "I'm a nurse now," Jasmine told him, "at Chicago Memorial." "You always wanted to help people," Michael said softly. "I'm not surprised you followed that path." An awkward silence fell between them as the weight of all the unshared years pressed down. Maya, always the most outgoing of the triplets, approached Michael. "Why do you have a whole office in a toy store?" Michael smiled, grateful for the innocent question. "I don't just work here. I started Wonder Toys when I was very young. I own all the Wonder Toys stores." "You own all of them?" Zoe asked, impressed. "Even the one in Milwaukee where Grandma lives?" "Even that one," Michael confirmed. "There are 47 Wonder Toys stores across the country." "Wow," Maya whispered. She looked at her sisters. "He owns the whole toy store." Layla finally spoke up. "Is that why you made that mean lady leave?" Michael's expression turned serious. "Partly, but mainly because she was wrong about what happened, and she was being unkind to you and your mom." "The lady said we were stealing," Zoe said quietly. "But we weren't." "I know," Michael assured her. "The video proved you didn't take anything." "And it showed that she did," Jasmine added. The girls processed this information. Then Maya looked up at Michael with wide eyes. "Are we still in trouble?" "Absolutely not," Michael said firmly. "You didn't do anything wrong." "Can we still get birthday presents?" Layla asked her mother. "Of course," Jasmine assured them. "That's why we came here today." Michael stood up suddenly. "It's your birthday tomorrow? All three of you?" The girls nodded. "We're triplets," Zoe explained. "We were born on the same day." Michael smiled, but Jasmine could see the emotion behind it. He was realizing just how much he had missed. 8 birthdays, first steps, first words, first days of school. "I want to make this right," Michael said to Jasmine. "I want to be part of their lives." Jasmine looked uncertain. "It's not that simple, Michael. They don't even know you." "But they could," he insisted. "I could get to know them, and they could get to know me." "Know you how?" Jasmine asked. "As a friend? As their father," Michael said firmly. "That's what I am, isn't it?" The girls, who had returned to playing with the toys, didn't hear this exchange. But Jasmine knew this conversation couldn't be postponed much longer. "We need to be careful about this," she said, "for their sake." Michael nodded slowly. "You're right. We should talk more about this first, just the two of us." He walked to his desk and wrote something on a business card. "This has my personal cell number. Call me tomorrow, and we can figure out the best way forward." Jasmine took the card, studying it for a moment before putting it in her purse. "We should go. It's getting late, and I still need to make dinner." "Before you go," Michael said, "please let me do something for the girls' birthday. After what happened today, they deserve something special." "We don't need charity, Michael." "It's not charity," he insisted. "They're my daughters, too." Jasmine considered this, then nodded slowly. "All right." Michael smiled and pressed a button on his desk phone. "Emily, could you come to my office, please?" A few minutes later, Emily Chen knocked and entered the office. She looked surprised to see Jasmine and the triplets still there. "Emily, these 3 girls are having their birthday tomorrow," Michael explained. "After the unfortunate incident today, I want them to have the full Wonder Toys experience. Could you help them select any items they want from the store as my personal guests?" Emily smiled. "Of course, Mr. Thompson. It would be my pleasure." The triplets looked at their mother with hopeful expressions. Jasmine nodded and the girls broke into wide smiles. "Can we really pick anything?" Maya asked. "Within reason," Jasmine cautioned. "Anything," Michael corrected gently. "It's their birthday." And he hesitated, looking at Jasmine. "I have a lot of birthdays to make up for." As Emily prepared to lead them back downstairs, Michael knelt to speak directly to the triplets. "Maya, Zoe, and Layla," he said, addressing each by name. "I'm very sorry about what happened today. I hope you'll still have a wonderful birthday tomorrow." The girls thanked him, with Maya even giving him a small hug that made Michael's eyes fill with tears. When they reached the door, Michael caught Jasmine's arm gently. "Will you call me tomorrow?" "I meant what I said. I want to be part of their lives." Jasmine looked at the man who had once been her first love, now a successful businessman and the newly discovered father of her children. "I'll call," she promised. "They deserve to know who you are." "But Michael, we need to do this right." He nodded. understanding the weight of responsibility that had suddenly fallen on both of them. "One day at a time," he agreed. As Emily led Jasmine and the triplets back toward the elevator, Michael watched them go, his mind racing with all the changes that had happened in the span of a single hour. His life would never be the same again, and he wouldn't want it to be. The morning light streamed through the windows of Jasmine's small apartment as she moved quietly around the kitchen, preparing a special birthday breakfast. The triplets were still asleep, exhausted from their eventful trip to Wonder Toys the day before. Each girl had returned home with far more than the $30 gift Jasmine had planned. Maya with the beautiful Dreams doll she had admired, Zoe with an advanced science kit, and Layla with both the unicorn and elephant stuffed animals she couldn't choose between. Jasmine pulled the business card from her pocket and stared at the phone number Michael had written. She had promised to call, but now in the calm morning light, the reality of the situation overwhelmed her. Michael Thompson, her high school boyfriend, now a billionaire businessman, was the father of her children, and after 8 years, he finally knew. With shaking hands, she dialed the number. He answered on the first ring. "Jasmine?" "Yes," she replied. "The girls are still sleeping. I thought we could talk before they wake up." "I didn't sleep at all last night," Michael admitted. "I kept thinking about them, about you, about everything I've missed." Jasmine sighed. "I know this is a shock. It was for me too, 8 years ago." "Can we meet today?" Michael asked. "It's their birthday and I'd like to." "They have a small party planned with my parents this afternoon," Jasmine explained. "But maybe tonight after they're in bed." "I could come to your place," Michael offered. Jasmine hesitated. "No, the girls might wake up. There's a coffee shop on Lincoln Avenue called Night Owl. It's open late. 8 o'clock?" "I'll be there," Michael promised. The rest of the day passed in a blur of birthday celebrations. The triplets blew out candles on a homemade cake, opened presents from their grandparents, and played with their new toys from Wonder Toys. Several times, Jasmine caught herself watching their faces, seeing Michael's features reflected back at her, the same features that had gone unrecognized by anyone else for 8 years. At 7:45 that evening, Jasmine's mother, Eleanor Jackson, sat on the couch while Jasmine prepared to leave. "The girls are all tucked in," Eleanor said. "Now, are you going to tell me what's really going on? You've been distracted all day." Jasmine took a deep breath. "Mom, I saw Michael yesterday." Eleanor's eyes widened. "Michael Thompson? The girl's father?" "Yes, he owns Wonder Toys now. He was there, and he saw us. And he figured it out." "Oh my goodness," Eleanor whispered. "After all this time. I'm meeting him tonight to talk about what happens next." Jasmine grabbed her purse. "I'll explain everything later. Thank you for watching the girls." The Night Owl coffee shop was nearly empty when Jasmine arrived. Michael was already there, sitting at a corner table with 2 cups of coffee. He stood when he saw her. "I remembered you like vanilla lattes," he said, pushing 1 cup toward her. Jasmine smiled faintly. "I haven't had one in years. Too expensive on a nurse's salary." They sat across from each other, the weight of 20 years and 3 children between them. "How was their birthday?" Michael asked. "Good. They loved the gifts from Wonder Toys. Maya hasn't put that doll down all day." Michael smiled, then his expression grew serious. "Jasmine, I need to understand what happened. Why couldn't you find me?" Jasmine took a sip of her latte. "I found out I was pregnant 3 weeks after you left for Stanford. I was already at nursing school in Chicago. I called your cell phone, but the number was disconnected. I got a new California number when I moved," Michael said. "I know that now," Jasmine continued. "I wrote letters to your parents' house, but they came back marked, 'No longer at this address.' I didn't know they had moved to Florida." "They downsized that summer," Michael explained. "Dad got the job offer in Tampa right after graduation. I tried asking our mutual friends, but nobody seemed to know how to reach you. You just disappeared from Chicago." Jasmine's voice hardened slightly. And you never tried to contact me either." Michael looked down. "We agreed to break up before college." I thought a clean break would be easier. Well, it wasn't easier when I found out I was having triplets and couldn't find their father. "Triplets?" Michael whispered. "When did you find out it was 3 babies?" "At my first ultrasound. The doctor's face was priceless." Despite the tension, Jasmine smiled at the memory. I fainted when she told me. "What did you do?" "Well, what could I do? My parents helped me finish nursing school. I worked whenever I could. We managed." Michael leaned forward. "But later, when I started Wonder Toys, I was in business magazines. I did TV interviews. You could have found me then." Jasmine's eyes flashed. By that point, the girls were toddlers. We had our routine. I wasn't looking for a handout. "A handout?" Michael's voice rose slightly. "They're my children too, Jasmine. I had a right to know about them." "And now you do," she replied evenly. "But don't expect to just walk into their lives and take over. They don't even know you. Because you never told them about me." Michael ran his hands through his hair in frustration. "What did you tell them when they asked about their father?" "I told them their father lived far away and couldn't be with us." Jasmine's voice softened. "I never said anything bad about you, Michael. I wouldn't do that." They sat in tense silence for a moment. "I want to be part of their lives," Michael finally said. "I've missed 8 years. I don't want to miss any more." "And how exactly do you see that working?" Jasmine asked. "You're the CEO of a national company. Your life is board meetings and business trips. Our life is homework and soccer practice and making dinner with whatever's on sale that week." "I can change my schedule," Michael insisted. "I can delegate more at work. The girls are my priority now." "Since yesterday," Jasmine pointed out. "They've been my priority for 8 years." The conversation continued in this way, back and forth, hurt feelings and misunderstandings bubbling to the surface until they agreed to meet again the next day with clearer heads. When Jasmine returned home, she was surprised to find Maya sitting on the living room couch, still awake. "Sweetie, what are you doing up?" Jasmine asked, sitting beside her daughter. "I had a bad dream," Maya said. "Grandma said you were out getting milk." "I'm sorry I wasn't here," Jasmine said, hugging her close. Maya looked up with serious eyes. "Mom, is Mr. Thompson from the toy store my dad?" Jasmine froze. "Why would you ask that?" "Because Zoe said he looks like us, and you were talking to him for a long time, and he gave us special presents." Maya listed her reasons matter-of-factly. "And I heard Grandma on the phone saying Michael finally found out about the girls." Jasmine made a mental note to talk to her mother about phone conversations. She took a deep breath, realizing the moment had come sooner than expected. "Yes, sweetie, Mr. Thompson is your father." Maya's eyes widened. "Really? The man who owns all the toy stores is my dad?" "Yes, he's your biological father. He didn't know about you and your sisters until yesterday." "Why didn't he know?" Jasmine chose her words carefully. "We weren't together anymore when I found out I was going to have you girls. I tried to tell him, but I couldn't find him. Is he going to live with us now?" Maya asked. "No, sweetie, but he would like to get to know you and your sisters." "Does he like being a dad?" Jasmine smiled. "He just found out he's a dad. I think he's still getting used to the idea." "I think he'd be a good dad," Maya said with the simple confidence of an 8-year-old. "He made the mean lady go away and he gave us birthday presents." Jasmine hugged her daughter close. "It's late, sweetie. Let's get you back to bed. We can talk more about this tomorrow, okay?" As she tucked Maya back into bed between her sleeping sisters, Jasmine realized she couldn't put off the inevitable. Tomorrow, she would need to properly introduce Michael Thompson to his daughters. Morning sunlight streamed through the kitchen window as Jasmine poured cereal for her daughters. After discovering that Maya already knew about Michael, she had spent most of the night deciding how to tell Zoe and Layla. The 3 girls sat at the small kitchen table still in their pajamas. "Girls," Jasmine said, sitting down with them. "I need to talk to you about something important." Maya looked up, milk dripping from her spoon. "Is it about Mr. Thompson being our dad?" Zoe's eyes widened. "What?" Layla stopped eating. "Mom, what is Maya talking about?" Jasmine took a deep breath. "Yes, it's about Mr. Thompson. The man we met at Wonder Toys yesterday is your biological father." Zoe tilted her head, processing this information with her analytical mind. "The toy store owner is our dad? But you said our dad lived far away." "I thought he did," Jasmine explained. "I lost contact with him before you were born. I tried to find him, but I couldn't. He didn't know about you until he saw us yesterday at the store." "Is that why he gave us extra birthday presents?" Layla asked suspiciously. Jasmine nodded. "Probably. He feels bad about missing your other birthdays." The kitchen phone rang, interrupting their conversation. It was Michael. "I've been thinking," he said without preamble. "It's still their birthday weekend. Would you all come to my place today? I'd like to celebrate properly now that they know who I am." "Maya knows," Jasmine clarified. "I just told Zoe and Layla this morning. They're still processing it." "All the more reason to spend time together," Michael insisted. "Please, Jasmine, let me do this for them." After some discussion, Jasmine agreed. Michael texted his address, a penthouse apartment overlooking Lake Michigan in one of Chicago's most exclusive buildings. 4 hours later, Jasmine stood with the triplets outside the gleaming high-rise, all four dressed in their best outfits. A doorman greeted them and directed them to a private elevator. "Mom, does he really live at the very top?" Maya asked, bouncing with excitement. "That's what he said," Jasmine answered, smoothing Layla's hair nervously. "Is he rich?" Zoe asked practically. "Yes," Jasmine admitted. "He owns a successful business." The elevator doors opened directly into Michael's penthouse. The girls gasped at the sight. The spacious living area was transformed with colorful decorations. 3 identical banners read, "Happy Birthday Maya," "Happy Birthday Zoe," and "Happy Birthday Layla." Balloons in different colors, purple for Maya, blue for Zoe, and green for Layla, floated throughout the space. Michael stepped forward, looking both nervous and excited. "Welcome! I'm so glad you could come." "Your home is very big," Zoe observed. Michael smiled. "It is. Let me give you a tour." He led them through the penthouse, pointing out features he thought might interest each girl. For Maya, he showed a craft room with art supplies. For Zoe, he revealed a small library with books on various subjects. For Layla, who remained quiet and close to Jasmine, he showed a telescope positioned to view the lake. "You can see all the way to Michigan on clear days," he told her. The floor-to-ceiling windows showcased a stunning view of Lake Michigan and the Chicago skyline. Maya ran to the windows, pressing her hands against the glass. "We're so high up, the people look tiny." "Please don't touch the glass, sweetie," Jasmine said automatically. "It's okay," Michael assured her. "Windows can be cleaned. This is their home too whenever they visit." Jasmine gave him a warning look. He was moving too fast. Michael cleared his throat. "Who's hungry? I ordered lunch from Chicago Pizza Palace." "That's our favorite," Maya exclaimed. "I know," Michael said with a smile. "Your mom told me." They ate lunch at Michael's large dining table, the girls gradually becoming more comfortable. Maya chatted easily, Zoe asked thoughtful questions about Wonder Toys, and even Layla began to speak, though she watched Michael carefully with each interaction. After lunch, Michael announced, "I have some special gifts for each of you." He presented 3 beautifully wrapped packages. For Maya, a professional art set with real paints, brushes, and a wooden easel. For Zoe, a telescope more advanced than the one by the window, with a computer attachment for tracking stars. For Layla, a soccer training set with specialized equipment that professional players used. "How did you know I play soccer?" Layla asked, genuinely curious. "Your mom told me you're the best player on your team," Michael said. "I played in high school too. Mom says I got my fast running from you," Layla admitted reluctantly. Michael's eyes shone. "I'd love to see you play sometime." After the gifts, a caterer brought in 3 separate cakes: chocolate for Maya, vanilla for Zoe, and strawberry for Layla. Michael helped Jasmine light 8 candles on each cake. "Make a wish," Jasmine encouraged as the girls prepared to blow out their candles. Michael watched with wonder as his daughters closed their eyes, made silent wishes, and blew out the flames in perfect unison. His throat tightened with emotion at this milestone he had never expected to witness. After cake and ice cream, Michael exchanged a look with Jasmine. It was time for the real conversation. They moved to the living room where comfortable couches formed a circle. "Girls," Jasmine began gently, "Mr. Thompson and I want to talk to you about something important." "About him being our dad?" Maya asked. "Yes," Michael confirmed, sitting forward. "I knew your mother a long time ago, before you were born." "We dated in high school," Jasmine explained, "but we went to different colleges far away from each other." Michael continued, "I just found out yesterday that I'm your father. I didn't know about you before then." "Why not?" Zoe asked directly. "Didn't Mom tell you she was having babies?" "She tried," Michael explained, "but I had moved to California, and I had a new phone number. Your mom couldn't find me. And when I finally did know how to contact him," Jasmine added, "you were already toddlers with your own routines. I thought it might be confusing for you." The girls processed this information in their own ways. Maya immediately jumped up and hugged Michael, making him blink back tears. Zoe remained seated, studying his face with careful consideration. "You have my eyes," she observed. "And Layla has your nose." Layla, however, crossed her arms. "We were fine without you. Mom takes care of us." "Layla," Jasmine warned gently. "It's okay," Michael said. "Layla's right. Your mom has done an amazing job raising you by herself. She's incredibly strong and brave." This acknowledgement seemed to soften Layla's expression slightly. "I know I've missed 8 years of your lives," Michael continued, his voice thick with emotion. "If you'll let me, I'd like to be there for all the years ahead. I can't change the past, but I want to be your father now." "Do we have to call you Dad?" Zoe asked practically. "You can call me Michael until you're comfortable with something else," he answered. "Will we live here now?" Maya asked, looking around the luxurious apartment. "No, sweetie," Jasmine said firmly. "We have our home. But maybe we can visit Michael sometimes. And I can come to your soccer games, school events, or just for dinner," Michael added. "We'll figure it out together." As evening fell, Michael invited them onto his large balcony. The Chicago skyline glittered with lights, and Lake Michigan stretched dark and vast beyond. "It's beautiful," Maya whispered. "Yes, it is," Michael agreed, but he was looking at his daughters, not the view. The newly formed family stood together on the balcony. Jasmine and Michael separated by years of missed connections and misunderstandings, the girls processing their new reality in their own ways. They were connected by blood but still strangers in many ways. "Can we come back tomorrow?" Maya asked hopefully. "Not tomorrow, sweetie," Jasmine said. "You have school on Monday and I have work. But we'll set up regular times to see each other," Michael promised. "This is just the beginning." As they prepared to leave, Michael knelt in front of his daughters. "Thank you for coming today. This has been the most special day of my life." Maya hugged him again. Zoe gave a small smile and a nod. Layla, still cautious, offered a high five instead of a hug. It was a start. A beginning none of them had expected just 2 days ago, but one that would change all their lives forever. 3 weeks after the birthday celebration at the penthouse, Michael sat on hard metal bleachers at Lincoln Park Elementary School watching the Triplets soccer team practice. Next to him, other parents chatted comfortably, exchanging weekend plans and commenting on their children's progress. Michael felt like an outsider, aware of the curious glances thrown his way. "That's Layla with the ball," he said to the father beside him, unable to hide the pride in his voice. "She's incredibly fast." The man nodded politely but seemed confused by the unfamiliar face at practice. On the field, Layla dribbled the ball with skill, easily outrunning the other children before scoring a goal. Michael stood up and cheered. Layla looked over, noticed him watching, and quickly turned away without acknowledging him. "She's still warming up to me," Michael explained to the bewildered parent next to him. After practice, Jasmine arrived to pick up the girls. She had given Michael permission to attend practices and school events, but they were still navigating the boundaries of co-parenting. "How was it?" she asked, approaching the bleachers. "Layla is amazing," Michael said. "She scored 3 goals. Maya tried really hard too. And Zoe hates soccer," Jasmine finished with a smile. "She only plays because the girls want to do everything together." The triplets ran over, sweaty and grass-stained. "Mom, did you see me score?" Layla asked Jasmine, deliberately ignoring Michael. "I just got here, sweetie, but Michael told me you scored 3 times." "That's wonderful." "I saw all of them," Michael added. "You're really talented, Layla." Layla shrugged, neither accepting nor rejecting the compliment. Maya, always the most affectionate, gave Michael a quick hug. "You came. I told everyone my dad was watching." Michael's heart swelled at being called dad so easily by at least one of his daughters. Zoe adjusted her glasses, which had slipped during practice. "Are you coming to the science fair next Thursday? My project is about how telescopes work. I used the one you gave me. I wouldn't miss it," Michael promised. Later that week, Michael took Maya to the Chicago Art Institute. She stared in wonder at famous paintings, then pulled out a sketchbook to try copying techniques she observed. "You're very good," Michael said, watching her draw. "Mom says I get my art skills from you," Maya replied. "Did you like drawing when you were a kid?" Michael nodded. "I used to design toys all the time. That's how Wonder Toys started, from my drawings of toys I wanted to create." "Can I design toys too?" Maya asked. "Absolutely. Maybe you can visit my design department someday and show them your ideas." Maya beamed at him. "I'd like that." The following weekend, Michael spent Saturday afternoon helping Zoe with her science fair project. They sat at the kitchen table in Jasmine's apartment, surrounded by cardboard, lenses, and research papers. "The light enters here," Zoe explained, pointing to her carefully constructed model telescope. "Then the mirrors reflect it to make faraway things look closer." "That's exactly right," Michael said, impressed by her understanding. "Your project is excellent, Zoe." She smiled slightly, pleased by his approval but still cautious in forming an attachment. "Will you really come to the science fair?" she asked. "It's very important. The judges are real scientists from the university." "I promise," Michael assured her. "Thursday at 6 o'clock. I've already cleared my schedule." Connecting with Layla proved more challenging. She remained politely distant during group activities but resisted one-on-one time. Michael kept trying, showing up for her soccer games and offering encouragement without pushing too hard for affection. One afternoon, he noticed her watching sadly as other children were picked up by their fathers after practice. "Layla," Michael said gently, "I'm building something at my apartment that I could use your help with. It involves measuring and hammering. Would you be interested?" Layla looked suspicious. "What is it?" "It's a surprise for all 3 of you, but I need an expert builder to help me." Her curiosity won out over her reluctance. With Jasmine's permission, Michael took Layla to his penthouse where he had set up materials on the balcony. "We're building a treehouse," he explained, showing her the plans he had drawn. "There's no tree," Layla pointed out practically. Michael smiled. "It's more of a playhouse design, but we can make it look like a treehouse. I thought we could build a smaller version here, then a full-size one in the backyard of your mom's apartment building if the landlord agrees." For the first time, Layla's eyes lit up with genuine interest. "Can I use real tools?" Absolutely. I'll teach you how to use them safely. For 2 hours they worked side by side. Michael showed her how to measure twice and cut once, how to hammer nails straight, and how to check if corners were square. By the time Jasmine arrived to pick her up, Layla was excitedly explaining everything she had learned. "Mom, I used a real saw, and Michael says I'm a natural builder." Jasmine raised her eyebrows at Michael over Layla's head, silently acknowledging his breakthrough with their most resistant daughter. As the weeks passed, Michael adjusted his work schedule to make time for school pickups, homework help, and weekend outings. Emily Chen took on more operational responsibilities at Wonder Toys, allowing Michael to step back from day-to-day management. On Thursday morning, the day of Zoe's science fair, Michael received an urgent call from his chief financial officer. "Michael, the Wilson Group is threatening to pull their investment if you don't personally attend the meeting today," Robert explained. "They've flown in from Seattle specifically to see you." "I can't today, Rob. My daughter's science fair is at 6. "It's $50 million, Michael. The meeting is at 5. You could do both if we're efficient." Michael hesitated, torn between his responsibilities. "Schedule the meeting for 5 sharp. I'll leave by 5:45, no matter what." The Wilson Group meeting started late. At 5:30, Michael checked his watch anxiously as Mr. Wilson methodically outlined his concerns about a new product line. "I appreciate your thoroughness," Michael interrupted, "but I need to leave by 5:45 for a family commitment." Mr. Wilson frowned. "We flew across the country to meet with you personally, Mr. Thompson. Surely your family would understand the importance of a $50 million investment." At 5:50, Michael was still trapped in the conference room. He texted Jasmine, "Meeting running late. We'll get there as soon as possible." By the time he arrived at the school gymnasium, parents were already leaving. Displays were being taken down. Michael rushed inside, searching frantically for Zoe's project. He found her sitting alone by her telescope display, shoulders slumped, award ribbon in her hand. "Zoe," Michael said, hurrying over. "I'm so sorry I'm late." She looked up, her expression shifting from hope to disappointment. "You missed it. I won 2nd place." "That's amazing! Congratulations!" Michael tried to sound enthusiastic, but the hurt in her eyes was unmistakable. "Mom videoed it on her phone," Zoe said flatly. "You can watch it later." "Zoe, I'm really sorry. My meeting ran late and—" "It's okay," she interrupted, though her tone made clear it wasn't. "Mom said sometimes work is more important." "No," Michael said firmly. "That's not true. You're more important." "Then why weren't you here?" The simple question hit him like a physical blow. "I made a mistake," Michael admitted. "I should have left the meeting no matter what." Jasmine approached with Maya and Layla. "There you are. We were wondering if you'd make it." "Michael missed my whole presentation," Zoe informed her sisters. Maya looked disappointed for her sister. Layla gave Michael a look that clearly said she had expected this all along. "I'm sorry," Michael said again, feeling the progress he'd made with all 3 girls slipping away. "I promise it won't happen again." That night, Michael sat alone in his penthouse office surrounded by work papers, but he wasn't reading them. Instead, he stared at the photos of the girls he had placed on his desk. The hurt in Zoe's eyes haunted him. He picked up his phone and called Emily Chen. "Emily, I need you to take on more responsibilities immediately. I'm restructuring my role at the company." "Is everything okay?" she asked, concerned by his tone. "No," Michael answered honestly. "I missed something important for my daughter today because of work. I can't let that happen again." After hanging up, Michael opened his laptop and created a detailed calendar. He entered every school event, doctor appointment, and activity he could think of for the triplets. He color-coded each girl's entries: purple for Maya, blue for Zoe, green for Layla. He had missed 8 years of their lives already. He wouldn't miss any more. 3 months after discovering he was a father, Michael drove through the tree-lined streets of Lincoln Park. one of Chicago's most exclusive neighborhoods. He slowed the car in front of a beautiful brick house with large windows and a front yard with enough space for 3 active girls to play. He smiled, imagining Maya setting up her easel under the maple tree, Zoe stargazing from the rooftop deck, and Layla practicing soccer tricks on the soft grass. Since missing Zoe's science fair, Michael had completely restructured his work schedule. Emily Chen now handled most day-to-day operations at Wonder Toys as the newly appointed Chief Operations Officer. Michael attended every soccer game, helped with homework 3 evenings a week, and even volunteered at the girls' school field trip to the Museum of Science and Industry. Slowly but surely, he was becoming a real presence in his daughters' lives. Now, he was ready for the next step. He pulled out his phone and called Jasmine. "Can you meet me this afternoon?" "There's something important I want to show you," he said when she answered. "I have a short shift at the hospital until 2. Is after that okay?" Jasmine replied, "Perfect. I'll pick you up at 2:30. Later that day, Michael parked in front of the apartment building where Jasmine and the girls lived. The stark contrast between their current home and the house he wanted to show her was precisely the point he wanted to make. The apartment was small, with all 3 girls sharing 1 bedroom. The neighborhood was decent but not great for schools. Jasmine came out wearing her blue hospital scrubs, looking tired after her shift. "Where are we going?" she asked as she got into his car. "It's a surprise," Michael answered with a smile. 20 minutes later, he parked in front of the brick house he had visited earlier. "What is this place?" Jasmine asked, looking at the house with its neatly trimmed lawn and colorful flower beds. "Come inside," Michael said, leading her up the walkway. He unlocked the front door with a key. "Wait, you have a key?" "Michael, what's going on?" Jasmine's voice held a note of suspicion. Inside, the house was empty of furniture but filled with potential. Sunlight streamed through large windows into a spacious living room. The kitchen was modern with new appliances. A staircase led to the second floor where 4 bedrooms waited. "This house is for sale," Michael explained as they walked through. "Or rather, it was for sale. I bought it yesterday." "You bought a house without telling me?" Jasmine asked, her voice rising slightly. Michael smiled, missing the warning signs in her tone. "Not for me. For you and the girls." He pulled out a set of keys from his pocket and held them out to her. "It's in your name. 3 bedrooms upstairs for the girls. They won't have to share anymore. The master bedroom has its own bathroom. The schools in this neighborhood are the best in Chicago. There's a park just 2 blocks away for Layla to practice soccer." Jasmine stared at the keys but didn't take them. "You bought me a house?" "For you and the girls," Michael corrected. "I want them to have the best of everything." "And you think I haven't given them the best I can?" Jasmine's voice was quiet but tight with emotion. Michael finally noticed her expression. "That's not what I meant. I just want to help." "Help?" Jasmine's eyes flashed. "By showing me that what I've provided for 8 years isn't good enough? That you can swoop in with your money and suddenly give them everything I couldn't? Jasmine, that's not fair. I'm just trying to be a good father. By being the hero, the rich dad who saves them from their struggling mom?" Jasmine crossed her arms. "I've kept a roof over their heads, food on the table, and clothes on their backs for 8 years without your help. And now you don't have to do it alone anymore," Michael insisted, still holding out the keys. "I'm not taking your charity, Michael." "It's not charity. They're my children too." Their voices had risen steadily until they were almost shouting. Neither noticed the sound of the front door opening again. "Mom! Michael?" Maya's voice broke through their argument. They turned to see all 3 girls standing in the doorway with Jasmine's mother, Eleanor. The confusion and distress on the triplets' faces made both adults immediately fall silent. "I'm sorry," Eleanor said, looking embarrassed. "When Michael texted me the address and asked me to bring the girls, I didn't realize—" "You planned this?" Jasmine asked Michael, her voice low and angry. "I wanted it to be a surprise for all of you," he explained, recognizing now how badly he had misjudged the situation. The girls looked around the empty house, taking in the space and the tension between their parents. "Is this our new house?" Zoe asked. "No," Jasmine said firmly. "Yes," Michael said at the same time. They looked at each other in frustration. Eleanor quickly stepped in. "Girls, why don't we explore the backyard while your parents talk?" Once alone again, Jasmine turned on Michael. "You had no right to do this without talking to me first. You can't just buy us a house and expect us to move because you think it's better." "What's wrong with wanting to give them a better life?" Michael demanded. "A safer neighborhood, better schools, their own rooms. What's wrong is that you're acting like the last 8 years weren't good enough." Jasmine's voice broke. "Like everything I sacrificed to raise them means nothing now that you're here with your money." Michael ran his hands through his hair in frustration. "That's not what I meant. I'm just trying to help." "Well, your help feels like criticism," Jasmine replied. "I don't need you to rescue us, Michael. We were doing fine before you came along." "Fine?" Michael gestured toward the window where they could see the girls exploring the backyard. 3 growing girls sharing one tiny bedroom? Living in a neighborhood where Layla can't practice soccer outside because it's not safe after dark? Working double shifts so often that they spend half their time with your mother? As soon as the words left his mouth, he regretted them. Jasmine's face went pale, then flushed with anger. "How dare you judge my parenting?" she said quietly. "You weren't there. You have no idea what it's like to raise 3 children alone while working full-time." "You're right, I don't," Michael admitted. "And I'm sorry. But I'm here now, and I want to help. Why won't you let me?" Before Jasmine could answer, Layla appeared in the doorway, her face serious. "Mom?" she asked in a small voice. "Are we moving here because of Michael?" Jasmine knelt down to her daughter's level. "No, sweetie, we're not moving." Layla looked relieved. "Good. I don't want to leave our home and my friends." Later that evening, after a tense drive back to Jasmine's apartment, Michael sat in his car outside the building for a long time. He had messed up badly. With the best intentions, he had managed to insult Jasmine and upset the girls. He needed advice from someone who understood parenting better than he did. An hour later, he sat at his parents' kitchen table in their suburban home. Eleanor Thompson set a cup of tea in front of her son and sat across from him. "I just wanted to help them," Michael explained after telling his mother about the house. "They deserve so much better than what they have." Eleanor Thompson, a graceful woman in her 60s with Michael's same hazel eyes, shook her head. "Michael, when did you become so arrogant?" "Excuse me?" "You heard me. Who are you to decide what's better for them? Jasmine has raised those girls beautifully for 8 years. They're happy, healthy, well-adjusted children despite not having the material advantages you think they need." Michael looked down at his tea. "I just wanted to give them what I can easily provide." Without considering what Jasmine has already provided. Stability, love, security, values, his mother pointed out. Things money can't buy. "So what should I do? Just stand by and watch them struggle when I could help?" Eleanor reached across the table and patted his hand. "There's a big difference between supporting Jasmine's authority as their mother and undermining it with grand gestures that make her feel inadequate." Michael sighed. "I really messed up, didn't I?" "Yes," his mother said bluntly. "But you can fix it. Start by apologizing. Then ask Jasmine what she needs, instead of telling her what you think she needs." The next morning, Michael asked Jasmine to meet him at a small coffee shop halfway between their homes. Her face was guarded when she arrived. "Thank you for coming," Michael said as she sat down. "I need to apologize. I was wrong to buy the house without talking to you first. It was presumptuous and disrespectful." Jasmine's expression softened slightly. "Yes, it was. I'm still learning how to be a father and clearly I'm making mistakes. Michael continued. "But I want you to know that I never meant to imply you haven't done an amazing job with the girls. You have. They're incredible, and that's because of you." Jasmine took a sip of her coffee before responding. "I know you meant well, but Michael, you can't just throw money at situations and expect that to solve everything." "I'm beginning to understand that," he admitted. "My mother made that very clear to me last night." This made Jasmine smile slightly. "Smart woman?" "She is," Michael agreed. "She also helped me see that I need to support your authority, not undermine it. So I'm asking now, what do you need? How can I help in ways that work for all of you?" As they continued talking, both realized they had much to learn about co-parenting. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but for the sake of 3 little girls who deserved the best from both of them, they were willing to try. 2 weeks after their coffee shop conversation, Jasmine and Michael had reached a better understanding about co-parenting. They agreed that any major decisions about the girls would be discussed together first. Michael had apologized to the triplets for the house confusion, explaining that grown-ups sometimes make mistakes too. On a bright Tuesday morning in October, Zoe's class from Lincoln Park Elementary School visited the Chicago Natural History Museum. She had been looking forward to this trip for weeks, especially the dinosaur exhibit. Maya and Layla, being in different classes, remained at school. "Make sure you take notes for your report," Mrs. Peterson reminded the 3rd graders as they entered the Grand Museum lobby. "We'll meet back here at noon for lunch." Zoe followed her classmates through the ancient Egypt exhibit, carefully writing observations in her small blue notebook. She had been coughing all morning, but she ignored it, not wanting to miss anything important. By the time they reached the dinosaur hall, Zoe felt strangely tired. The room seemed too warm, and the dinosaur skeletons blurred in front of her eyes. "Are you okay?" her friend Amber asked. "You look really red." "I'm fine," Zoe insisted, though she felt worse with each passing minute. Mrs. Peterson was explaining something about Tyrannosaurus Rex when Zoe suddenly couldn't stand anymore. The room spun around her, and then everything went black. "Zoe? Zoe?" Mrs. Peterson's voice sounded far away. Paramedics arrived within minutes. "Her temperature is 104 degrees, one said as they loaded Zoe onto a stretcher. "We're taking her to Chicago Memorial." At Chicago Memorial Hospital, Jasmine was checking a patient's blood pressure when her supervisor approached. "Jasmine, I need to speak with you immediately," Dr. Roberts said, her face serious. Jasmine followed her to the hallway, where Dr. Roberts placed a hand on her shoulder. "Your daughter Zoe has just been brought into the ER. She collapsed during a field trip." The blood drained from Jasmine's face. "What happened?" "Is she okay? They're assessing her now. You should go immediately." Jasmine ran to the emergency department, her heart pounding. When she pushed through the doors, she experienced the surreal horror of watching her colleagues working on her own child. Zoe lay unconscious on a hospital bed, an oxygen mask covering her small face. Dr. Chen, the pediatric specialist, was listening to her chest with a stethoscope. "Jasmine," Dr. Chen said, looking up. "Zoe has severe pneumonia. Her oxygen levels are dangerously low." "But she just had a cough this morning," Jasmine said, her nurse's training temporarily overwhelmed by her mother's fear. "It appears to have progressed very rapidly," Dr. Chen explained. "We're getting a chest X-ray now." In downtown Chicago, Michael sat in a conference room with 5 investors. The Wilson Group had returned with additional questions about their $50 million investment in Wonder Toys expansion. "As you can see from these projections," Michael explained, pointing to a graph, "the new educational toy line should increase revenue by 20% in the first year alone." His phone vibrated in his pocket. Normally, he would ignore calls during such an important meeting, but since becoming a father, he had set a special ringtone for Jasmine and the girls' school. He excused himself and stepped outside to answer. "Michael, it's Jasmine." Her voice was tight with fear. "Zoe collapsed at the museum. She's in the ER at Chicago Memorial. The doctors think it's pneumonia, but they're doing tests now. I'm on my way, Michael said immediately. He returned to the conference room, gathered his papers with shaking hands, and addressed the stunned investors. I apologize, but my daughter has been taken to the hospital. We'll need to reschedule. But we flew in specially for this meeting, Mr. Wilson protested. My daughter is in the emergency room, Michael repeated firmly. Nothing is more important than that. 20 minutes later, Michael rushed into the hospital's pediatric wing where he found Jasmine standing outside a treatment room, her face pale with worry. "How is she?" he asked breathlessly. "Not good," Jasmine answered. "The pneumonia is severe, but that's not all." She took a deep breath. The x-rays showed something else. Zoe has a small hole in her heart. It's a condition she's had since birth, but it was never detected in regular checkups. "A hole in her heart?" Michael repeated, struggling to understand. "Is it dangerous?" "It wouldn't be under normal circumstances. Many people live with small heart defects without problems, but with the pneumonia..." Jasmine's voice broke. "The infection is putting extra strain on her heart. They're prepping her for surgery now." Dr. Chen emerged from Zoe's room with a clipboard. "Mr. Thompson?" "I'm Dr. Chen, the pediatric specialist treating your daughter." "Will she be okay?" Michael asked immediately. "The next 24 hours are critical," Dr. Chen explained. "We need to repair the heart defect and treat the pneumonia aggressively. I need both parents to sign the surgical consent forms." Jasmine and Michael followed Dr. Chen to a small consultation room where a stack of papers waited. As they reviewed the surgical risks and signed their names, Michael realized this was the first major decision they were making together as parents, one that could determine their daughter's future. "When can we see her?" Jasmine asked. "You can see her briefly before we take her to surgery," Dr. Chen said. "The procedure will take approximately 4 hours." In the treatment room, Zoe lay small and vulnerable, connected to monitors and IVs. Her eyes fluttered open when her parents approached. "Mom," she whispered through the oxygen mask. "My chest hurts." "I know, sweetie," Jasmine said, gently stroking her daughter's hair. "The doctors are going to help you feel better." "Am I really sick?" Zoe asked, her usual scientific curiosity present even now. "Yes," Michael answered honestly, "but you're in the best hospital with the best doctors." "Will you stay?" Zoe's voice was barely audible. "We'll both be right here," Michael promised. As the nurses prepared to take Zoe to surgery, Michael suddenly remembered. "Maya and Layla, they're still at school." "My mother was going to pick them up," Jasmine said. "I should call her." Within an hour, Eleanor Jackson arrived with the other 2 triplets. The girls' eyes were wide with fear when they saw their mother still in her nursing uniform and Michael looking disheveled from his rushed exit from the meeting. "Is Zoe going to die?" Maya asked bluntly, tears filling her eyes. "No, sweetie," Jasmine said firmly. "The doctors are helping her right now." "But why did she get so sick?" Layla demanded. "She was fine this morning." Michael knelt down to their level. "Sometimes illnesses can get worse very quickly, and Zoe has a small problem with her heart that nobody knew about until today." The family settled in the surgical waiting room. Hours passed slowly. Maya eventually fell asleep with her head on Michael's lap. Layla, still awake, sat between her mother and grandmother, occasionally asking questions about her sister's condition. "Will Zoe have a scar?" she asked. "Yes," Jasmine explained. "The doctors need to make a small cut to fix her heart." "Will she be able to play soccer when she gets better?" "Eventually," Michael assured her. "She'll need time to heal first." As the evening wore on, Jasmine found herself leaning against Michael's shoulder, drawing strength from his presence. For the first time since he had reappeared in their lives, she felt truly grateful that he was there, not for his money or resources, but simply for sharing this burden that would have been unbearable alone. At 9:15 in the evening, Dr. Chen finally emerged from the surgical doors. Both parents stood immediately, hearts pounding. "The surgery was successful," she announced with a tired smile. "We repaired the hole in Zoe's heart and drained fluid from her lungs. She's in recovery now." Relief washed over them. Michael, overcome with emotion, wrapped his arms around Jasmine without thinking. She returned the embrace, both of them releasing the tension they'd been holding for hours. "Thank you," Michael said to Dr. Chen. "When can we see her?" "She'll be in intensive care tonight. You can see her briefly, 2 at a time." In the pediatric ICU, Zoe looked tiny amid the machines and monitors. Her face was pale, but her breathing seemed stronger. Michael and Jasmine stood on either side of her bed, each holding one of her small hands. "She looks so fragile," Michael whispered. "She's stronger than she looks," Jasmine replied. "She always has been." They stood together in silence, watching their daughter breathe, united by fear, relief, and something else neither was ready to name. In this sterile hospital room, with their child's life hanging in the balance, all their previous disagreements seemed trivial. "I was so scared," Michael admitted. "When you called, I just left everything. Nothing else mattered." "I know," Jasmine said softly. "I saw your face when you arrived." "That's when I knew for sure." "Knew what?" "That you really do love them. That being their father isn't just about money or making up for lost time. You love them the way a parent should." Michael's eyes filled with tears. "I do. More than I ever thought possible." As they kept vigil beside Zoe's bed, something fundamental shifted between them. They weren't just co-parents navigating a complicated situation anymore. They were a family facing a crisis together and finding strength in their unity that neither had expected. Over the next 2 weeks, Zoe's hospital room became the center of the family's world. Michael and Jasmine established an unspoken routine, with one of them always at Zoe's bedside while the other took care of Maya and Layla. The hospital staff offered Jasmine special accommodations as both a mother and fellow healthcare worker, allowing more flexible visiting hours. On the 5th day after surgery, Zoe was strong enough to sit up and ask questions about her condition. "So, I've always had a hole in my heart?" she asked Dr. Chen during morning rounds. "Yes," the doctor explained, drawing a simple diagram on Zoe's whiteboard. "It's called an atrial septal defect. You were born with it, but it was very small and didn't show up on regular checkups." "But now it's fixed?" Michael asked from his chair beside the bed. He had slept there the previous night, refusing to leave even when Jasmine offered to stay. "The repair was successful," Dr. Chen confirmed. "However, Zoe will need careful monitoring during her recovery. We'll want to check her heart regularly for the next 6 months." After Dr. Chen left, Jasmine sat on the edge of Zoe's bed, smoothing her daughter's hair. "How are you feeling, sweetie?" "Tired," Zoe admitted. "But I've been thinking about something." "What's that?" Michael asked. "When I go home, how will we do all these checkups and things? Our apartment is really far from the hospital." Jasmine and Michael exchanged looks. They had been discussing this same issue privately. "Actually," Jasmine said carefully, "we've been talking about that. It might be better if we lived closer to the hospital while you're recovering." Later that evening, after Zoe had fallen asleep, Michael and Jasmine sat in the hospital cafeteria with coffee cups between them. "The Lincoln Park house is only 10 minutes from the hospital," Michael said quietly. "It would make Zoe's follow-up appointments much easier." Jasmine nodded slowly. "I know. And the schools are better, which means fewer absences when she needs rest." She hesitated. "But Michael, I still don't feel right about you buying us a house." "What if we modify the arrangement?" Michael suggested. "The property includes a small guest house in the back garden. I could stay there when needed to help with Zoe's care or the other girls. That way you maintain your independence, but I'm close enough to be involved." Jasmine considered this. "That could work, but I want to pay rent." "Jasmine?" "I'm serious, Michael. I need to contribute something." Michael recognized her pride and nodded. What about this? You pay what you can afford, and I'll put that money into college funds for the girls." After further discussion, they reached an agreement. The next day, they explained the plan to all three girls. "We're moving to the big house?" Maya asked, her eyes wide. "Yes," Jasmine confirmed. "It will be better for Zoe's recovery, and it's closer to the hospital if she needs help." "Will Michael live with us too?" Layla asked suspiciously. "No," Jasmine explained. "Michael will stay in the small guest house behind the main house. That way he can help when needed, but we'll still have our own home." "Like Grandma's garage apartment where Uncle Tim stayed that time?" Zoe asked. "Exactly like that," Michael confirmed. 2 days later, Dr. Chen cleared Zoe for discharge with strict instructions for home care. She'll need rest, limited physical activity, and regular medication. I want to see her again in 1 week. While Zoe remained in the hospital, arrangements for the move progressed quickly. Michael hired professional movers to pack Jasmine's apartment. He also ordered new furniture for the Lincoln Park house, with input from Jasmine and the girls about their preferences. On the day of Zoe's discharge, Michael drove them all to the new house. Zoe had to be carried carefully from the car, still weak from her ordeal. When they entered the front door, she gasped in surprise. The empty house they had argued in weeks earlier was now fully furnished and decorated. The living room had comfortable couches, a large television, and bookshelves. The kitchen gleamed with new appliances. Upstairs, each girl had her own bedroom decorated according to her interests: art supplies for Maya, science posters for Zoe, and sports equipment for Layla. "This is really our house now?" Maya asked, spinning around in her new room with its easel by the window. "Yes," Jasmine said, still adjusting to the idea herself. "This is our home." Zoe was settled in her bed with strict instructions to rest. Her room had been specially prepared with extra pillows, a small refrigerator for her medication, and a tablet loaded with books and educational games for her recovery period. While the girls explored their new rooms, Michael showed Jasmine the master bedroom with its private bathroom and walk-in closet, luxuries she had never experienced. "This is too much," she whispered, looking at the beautiful space. "It's what you deserve," Michael said simply, "both as a nurse and as the amazing mother you've been to our daughters." That evening, after the girls were asleep in their new beds, Michael and Jasmine sat in the kitchen unpacking the last few boxes of personal items. "I can't believe how quickly this all happened," Jasmine said, wrapping a coffee mug in newspaper. 3 weeks ago we were arguing about this house and now we're living in it." "Sometimes it takes a crisis to put things in perspective," Michael replied. As he opened another box, Michael paused, pulling out a small wooden container. "What's this?" Jasmine looked over and immediately recognized it. "Oh, that's just some old things from high school. You can put it in my bedroom closet." Curiosity getting the better of him, Michael opened the box. Inside were photos, folded notes, movie ticket stubs, and a pressed corsage, all mementos from their high school relationship 20 years earlier. "You kept all this?" he asked softly, holding up a photo of them at senior prom. In the picture they stood arm in arm, Michael in a rented tuxedo and Jasmine in a blue dress, both smiling widely at the camera. "I meant to throw it out many times," Jasmine admitted, "but it felt wrong somehow. It was an important time in my life." Michael studied the photo. "We were so young and had no idea what was coming," Jasmine added. Michael continued looking through the box, finding notes they had passed in class and photos from football games they had attended together. "We were good together, weren't we?" he asked. "Before college separated us." "We were," Jasmine agreed, "but we were different people then." They sat in comfortable silence, the box of memories between them. Finally, Michael spoke the question that had been on his mind. "Do you ever wonder how things might have been different if we'd stayed in touch after graduation?" Jasmine considered this. "Sometimes, especially when the girls were babies and things were really hard. I used to imagine you showing up one day, not even knowing you were a father, Just coming back to reconnect. Silly fantasy, I guess." "Not silly," Michael said. "I thought about you too over the years. I dated other people, was even engaged twice, but something always felt missing. And now here we are," Jasmine said, gesturing to the house around them, "co-parenting our 8-year-old triplets that you didn't know existed until 3 months ago." Michael smiled. "Not exactly how I imagined reconnecting with my high school girlfriend." They finished unpacking in comfortable silence. When the last box was empty, Michael stood to leave for the guest house. "Good night, Jasmine," he said at the door. "Thank you for agreeing to this arrangement. I think it will be good for all of us, especially Zoe." "I think so too," Jasmine admitted. "Good night, Michael." The following days established new routines. Michael came to the main house each morning to help get the girls ready for school. Jasmine reduced her nursing hours to be home more during Zoe's recovery. Michael converted one room in the guest house into a home office so he could work remotely most days. 1 week after the move, Zoe had her first follow-up appointment. Dr. Chen was pleased with her progress. "The surgical site is healing nicely," she reported, "and her lungs sound much clearer." "When can I go back to school?" Zoe asked eagerly. "Another week of rest at home," Dr. Chen advised. "Then half days for a week after that." As they left the hospital, Michael received a call from Emily Chen at Wonder Toys. "Michael, the board is asking about your reduced schedule," she reported. "Some members are concerned about the company direction." "Schedule a board meeting for Friday," Michael replied. "It's time to officially announce your promotion to COO. Moving forward, you'll handle daily operations while I focus on strategy and new product development." After hanging up, he noticed Jasmine watching him. "You're really restructuring your entire company," she observed. "Are you sure that's wise?" "The company will be fine," Michael assured her. "Emily is brilliant, and I'm not stepping back completely, just prioritizing differently." He smiled at Zoe, who was walking slowly beside them. "Some things are more important than business." That evening, as Michael helped Jasmine prepare dinner in the new kitchen, he realized how quickly their unusual living arrangement had begun to feel natural. The house felt like a home, not because of its size or location, but because all 5 of them were there together. As they called the girls to dinner, Michael caught Jasmine looking at him with an expression he couldn't quite read. "What?" he asked. She shook her head slightly. "Nothing. It's just strange sometimes. Seeing you here in the kitchen, helping with homework, taking care of sick kids. If someone had told me 4 months ago that this would be our life." Michael smiled. "Is it a good strange or a bad strange?" "I'm still deciding," Jasmine replied, but the small smile on her face gave him hope. 6 months after moving into the Lincoln Park house, the change in all their lives was remarkable. Zoe had recovered fully from her surgery, her follow-up appointments showing a perfectly healed heart. The triplets had settled into their new school, where they were thriving academically and making new friends. Jasmine had reduced her nursing hours at Chicago Memorial and enrolled in a part-time program to become a nurse practitioner, something she had dreamed about for years but never had time to pursue. And Michael had become a constant, reliable presence in their daily lives. Each morning, he walked from the guest house to help with breakfast and school preparations. Each evening, he joined them for dinner and homework help. On weekends, he took the girls to parks, museums, and sporting events, learning their individual interests and building relationships with each daughter. 5 minutes until we need to leave," Jasmine called up the stairs one April morning. She stood in the kitchen, packing lunches while checking the time. Michael entered through the back door, bringing a rush of spring air with him. "Good morning. Need any help?" "Can you make sure they're actually getting ready and not playing?" Jasmine asked, handing him a thermos of coffee. "Maya got distracted with a new drawing yesterday and nearly missed the bus." Michael took the stairs 2 at a time, knocking on bedroom doors. "Girls! Bus in 5 minutes." Maya emerged first, her curly hair half-brushed, wearing a purple sweater and jeans. "I can't find my sketchbook. Did you check under your bed?" Michael asked, straightening her collar. Zoe appeared next, fully dressed with her backpack already on. "I checked the weather forecast. There's only a 10% chance of rain, but I packed my umbrella anyway." "Very responsible," Michael praised. "Is your sister up?" "Layla's practicing soccer moves in front of her mirror again," Zoe reported. Michael knocked on Layla's door. "Soccer star, the bus waits for no one, not even future Olympians." The door opened to reveal Layla dressed in her soccer uniform even though her game wasn't until that afternoon. "Dad, can you come to practice early today? Coach William said he might let parents scrimmage with the kids." The word "dad" still gave Michael a thrill every time he heard it. Layla had been the last to use it, only starting about a month ago. "Wouldn't miss it," he promised. "Now downstairs, all of you. Mom's got lunches ready." In the kitchen, Jasmine handed out lunch bags with each girl's name. "Maya, yours has the granola bar you like. Zoe, I put extra carrot sticks in yours. Layla, there's a protein shake for after practice." As they headed out the door, Michael carried Zoe's science project, which was too bulky for her to manage with her backpack. "I'll pick you all up after school and take you to the play rehearsal," he reminded them. "Don't forget your lines." Jasmine called as the girls ran to catch the bus. When they were gone, Michael turned to Jasmine. "I need to go downtown for a meeting this morning, but I'll be back by 2. Are you working today?" "Half shift, done by noon," Jasmine replied. "I have a class this afternoon, but I'll be home in time for dinner before the play." "Big night," Michael said with a smile. "I can't believe they all got parts." "That drama teacher didn't know what she was getting into when she cast Triplets," Jasmine laughed. Later that day, Michael arrived at his downtown office for a meeting with his financial advisors. As CEO of Wonder Toys, he still handled major company decisions, though Emily Chen managed day-to-day operations brilliantly as COO. "Mr. Thompson, we've prepared the documents you requested," his advisor, James Wilson, said, sliding folders across the polished conference table. Michael opened the first one. "These are the education trust funds for the girls?" "Yes, sir. Equal amounts for each daughter. Accessible when they turn 18 for college expenses. As we discussed, these are quite generous. Each fund should cover 4 years at any university in the country, plus graduate school if they choose." Michael nodded, signing the papers. "And the other matter?" James opened a second folder. "Here's the Scholarship Foundation paperwork. The Jasmine Williams Scholarship for single parents in healthcare will provide full tuition and stipend for 5 single parents annually at Chicago Memorial's nursing school." Michael smiled as he signed these documents as well. The scholarship had been his private project for months. Jasmine didn't know about it yet, but he planned to tell her tonight after the play. By 6 o'clock that evening, the school auditorium was filling with excited parents and siblings. Michael saved seats for his parents who were driving in from the suburbs to see their granddaughters perform. Jasmine sat beside him, reviewing the program. "Maya as Dorothy, Zoe as the Scarecrow, and Layla as the Tin Man," she read. "I still can't believe Layla agreed to be in the play at all. She used to hate performing." "She didn't want to be left out," Michael observed. "They're very protective of their bond." Eleanor and Richard Thompson arrived, carrying flowers for each girl. At 65, Eleanor remained elegant and active, while Richard, 67, moved more slowly with a cane after recent knee surgery. "Mom, Dad, thanks for coming." Michael greeted them with hugs. "We wouldn't miss it," Eleanor said, embracing Jasmine warmly as well. Over the months, the elder Thompsons had fully embraced their role as grandparents, making up for lost time with weekend visits and holiday celebrations. The lights dimmed, and the elementary school production of The Wizard of Oz began. Maya appeared first as Dorothy singing "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" in a sweet, clear voice that brought tears to Jasmine's eyes. Zoe's performance as the Scarecrow showcased her natural intelligence as she delivered her lines with perfect clarity, and Layla, despite her initial reluctance, threw herself into the role of the Tin Man with surprising theatrical talent. "They're amazing," Michael whispered to Jasmine, his heart swelling with pride. "They are," she agreed, discreetly wiping away tears. After the performance, the family gathered in the school cafeteria for the cast party. Other parents who had once whispered about their unusual family now interacted normally with both Jasmine and Michael, the initial curiosity about their situation having faded into acceptance. "Mrs. Rodriguez, your son made a wonderful lion," Jasmine complimented another mother. "Thank you." "Your girls were fantastic too," Mrs. Rodriguez replied. "Will they all be in Miss Peterson's class next year?" "No, we've decided to separate them for 4th grade, Jasmine explained. "The school counselor thinks it will help them develop more independence." Later, they celebrated with a special dinner at Eleanor and Richard's suburban home. The walls that had once displayed only Michael's childhood photos now included many framed pictures of the triplets, school portraits, sports team photos, and candid shots from family outings. While the girls showed their grandfather the costumes they had brought home, Michael took Jasmine out to the garden, which was illuminated by small solar lights along the stone pathways. "I have something to tell you," he said, leading her to a bench beneath a flowering dogwood tree. "Sounds serious," Jasmine replied, sitting down. "It is, but in a good way." Michael handed her the folder with the scholarship information. "I created this in your name. It will help single parents who want to pursue careers in healthcare, covering their tuition and providing a living stipend." Jasmine opened the folder, her eyes widening as she read the details. "Michael, this is incredible. 5 full scholarships every year?" "I know how hard you work to become a nurse while raising the girls," Michael said. "Not everyone has parents who can help like yours did. This will make it possible for other single parents to follow their dreams too." Tears filled Jasmine's eyes. "This might be the most meaningful gift anyone has ever given me." "There's something else," Michael continued, taking her hand. "These past 6 months, living near you and the girls, being part of your daily lives, it's shown me what really matters." "It's been good for the girls," Jasmine acknowledged. "Not just for them. For me too. And, I hope, for you." Michael looked into her eyes. "I know we started this arrangement because of Zoe's medical needs, but I think we've both realized it's working for all of us." Jasmine nodded slowly. "I was so resistant at first. I was sure you'd get bored with everyday parenting and drift back to your CEO life. But I didn't," Michael said. "Because this, you and the girls, this is the life I always wanted without knowing it." The next morning, the family drove downtown together for a special event. The grand reopening of the Wonder Toys flagship store, now completely renovated. As owner, Michael had to cut the ceremonial ribbon, and he wanted his daughters beside him for the occasion. "This is where we first saw each other again," Jasmine remarked as they approached the familiar building. "And where that mean lady accused us of stealing," Maya remembered. "Things are very different now," Michael assured them. "We've implemented extensive training for all staff on how to treat customers fairly and respectfully." Inside, Emily Chen greeted them warmly. "The Thompson family has arrived. Girls, we have a special surprise for you after the ceremony." The grand reopening included a speech from Michael about the company's commitment to creating positive experiences for all families. He spoke about the incident 6 months earlier without naming names, explaining how it had led to company-wide changes in policy and training. "At Wonder Toys, we believe every child deserves respect and joy," he concluded. "And sometimes the most unexpected beginnings can lead to the most wonderful outcomes." After cutting the ribbon, Michael led his family to a new display near the entrance, a sign reading "The Williams-Thompson Family Collection." Below it were toys designed with input from Maya, Zoe, and Layla, including an art set, a child-friendly telescope, and soccer training equipment for younger players. "You named toys after us?" Zoe asked, adjusting her glasses as she examined the display. "These are your ideas," Michael explained. "Remember when you visited the design department? They took your suggestions seriously." As the girls excitedly explored the store, now examining it as part owners rather than just customers, Michael and Jasmine watched them with shared pride. "Hard to believe it all started with a false accusation right here," Jasmine said quietly. "Best mistake anyone ever made," Michael replied, gently taking her hand. "It brought me back to you and led me to our daughters." Jasmine smiled, no longer pulling away from his touch. "It's been a strange journey." "But we're exactly where we're supposed to be," Michael said, watching as Maya, Zoe, and Layla explored the store together, their voices rising with excitement and wonder. 3 different versions of the best parts of both their parents, finally part of a complete family. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen.